wetsuit, air tank strapped to his back, heading overboard. It was a routine he repeated over and over again, hundreds, perhaps thousands of times over his long and adventure-filled life. But less known was that Cousteau was an inventive genius.
I remember most that he was enchanted with ideas and he was delighted. He was almost like a little child, but he was the most creative and imaginative person I've ever met.
Susan Schiefelbein was for more than 2 decades a close collaborator with Cousteau and helped him write his autobiography.
A scientist who would be very involved and have a passion in his work could go to Cousteau and say A, B, and Cousteau could skip to Q and understand immediately the intervening steps.
The Frenchman practically invented scuba diving when he developed the regulator valve that made possible breathing air from tanks underwater. Apart from the scuba equipment, which he called an aqualung, Cousteau was perhaps best known for his underwater photography. His stunning documentaries produced for television and cinema had their origins in the adventurer's childhood curiosity.
He wanted a Navy and aviation career and went to the Naval Academy at Brest and did extremely well. And then was in a car accident and was too terribly hurt ever to be a pilot. And so he was strengthening himself by swimming, and he became a naval explorer kind of by default.
If he came to diving by accident, it was a fortunate accident indeed, because it led Cousteau to a lifelong search to find out what lies beneath the surface of the world's oceans. Cousteau's endless curiosity led him to explore ever more remote, ever deeper waters. He needed something which could withstand extreme water pressure, yet maneuver silently like a diver can without disturbing the aquatic life around it. Submarines wouldn't do because of the turbulence and danger caused by the propellers. Nothing like he had in mind existed, so Cousteau had to invent it.
He pulled out a saucer from under a coffee cup.
After reading the book, does anybody remember what this was called? What was the name of this invention? Do you remember, Jimmy? The sea flea. Why do you think, what's the size of a flea? Big or small, Aria? It's small. So it said on here that submarines would not give him the ability to go deep in the water and continue studying without disturbing the life of like the plants and the animals at the bottom, or the fish at the bottom of the sea. So he invented the sea flea.
And then put another one on top, and he said something like this.
Cousteau very often insisted on testing his new devices and techniques himself, frequently risking his own life in the process.
Here was a man who took these devices down enormous depths, not having any idea what would happen. And so it was really trial and error in a very dangerous sense. And he always survived.
But for Cousteau, survival of the environment is what was really important. In the 1960s, he helped stop underwater dumping of nuclear waste in the Mediterranean Sea, and helped restrict commercial whaling in the 1980s. He wanted to protect the world he so enjoyed exploring.
If somebody said, what do you expect to see at the bottom of the Romanche Trench, which they were the first to photograph, he would say, if I knew what I expected to see, why would I go? Why would I even look? And so it was Allez voir.
Allez voir, go see. Advice Cousteau himself followed until the end. Jim Bitterman, CNN, Paris.
So that was some actual footage from, yes, Jacques Cousteau. They did a little feature of him on CNN. And so I wanted to show you, we've read about a lot of these things, but in our book that we've been reading, tell me, are they pictures or are they illustrations? Are they illustrations or pictures? Easton? They're illustrations. So those were some actual footage that features Jacques Cousteau and some things that he invented that we have learned about. So today what we're going to be focusing on is, we've already written a paragraph about our main idea, but I promise you that you would start getting into something bigger. What did I promise you would start getting into, Jace? Elaboration. So here is all of our vocabulary that we've continued to go through, And today our new word is going to be elaboration. Can anybody tell me what have I compared elaboration to? It's kind of like our what, Randall?
Cookie cutter.
Well, we have our cookie cutter. Our elaboration's going to be like what?
Our sprinkles.
Our sprinkles and our, what else is good on a cookie? Your icing and all the things that make a cookie really, really good. Once you get really good with the cookie cutter, I told you that we would then start letting you decorate your cookie. Now, before when you had your cookie cutter, everybody's paragraph kind of looks the what? The same. But once you start adding in your elaboration, meaning you're decorating your cookie in a different way or you're adding to your paragraph in different ways, now what's about to start happening to your paragraphs? They're going to change, and what else? Graydon? Are they going to still all look the same? No, they're going to start to look different. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pass out the paragraphs you wrote yesterday. Now, Hayden and Aria, who else was not here yesterday? Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a piece of paper. You're going to be writing your whole paragraph. My friends that were here yesterday, you're adding to your paragraph. So I'll explain kind of as we go along, okay, Adriana? Oh, well then you're good. So get it out. All right. All right. We're going to start by going through, and I want you to highlight what is in your paragraph. Now, I don't care what color you use, but you should have 3 colors. Is there anybody who doesn't have their 3 colors? Anybody? Okay. What is in our cookie cutter, when we're talking about our cookie cutter, somebody tell me what is the very first sentence that comes in our paragraph? Taurus. What's our first sentence? We've got it right here. What is our first sentence that we always have? Topic. Then we have everybody. What is this?
Evidence 1, evidence 2, evidence 3.
And then we end with a
Conclusion.
good. Now, today is where I'm going to talk to you about how to do elaborations. And now on my picture, I've added elaborations as if they were rings on someone's finger, kind of like decoration. This is a beautiful picture, and this is what Wit and Wisdom gives us, but I like comparing it better to a what? A cookie. Why? Why do you think I would rather compare it to a cookie? Which one's more interesting to you, a cookie or a hand? Definitely a cookie. So we're going to go with something that to me makes a little bit more sense. We're going to be adding in our elaboration, which is details to explain more about our what. It's more about our what. Nope. Well, our what?
Evidence.
Our evidences. So the first thing you're going to do, I want you to go through your paragraph right now. Pick 3 colors. I want your topic, 1 color, all your evidences, 1 color, and I want your conclusion, 1 color. But watch. Can I borrow yours? Okay. We talk about the difference between coloring and highlighting. One of the things I want you to do, so I'm going to use, Randall's going to let me use his as a example. And I'm going to use these 3 colors. I'm going to start with my orange as my topic. Now, you've got 2 spots on this highlighter. I'd like for you to use that pointy end and just mark through so that you can see your topic. Do that now. Go. You have 20 seconds. Go.
Idea of the non-fiction text. The fantastic adventure life of Jacques Cousteau is that he loved the sea and wanted to share his love of the sea with others.
Okay, he wanted to share his love with others. Then, what are we going to put in our paragraph, everybody? Our 3 evidences. Pick a different color. I do not care which. Just make sure it is different than your topic. I'm going to go with yellow. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to use that pointy end to go through and to highlight all of my evidences. Okay. All right. Jace is in a different. Okay. So we've got all of our evidences highlighted. Now what are we going to highlight? What's the very last sentence that you put in your paragraph, Hayden? A conclusion. Now, again, I've got Jace's paper I had to swap. Randall ran out of time yesterday. So I'm going to be doing his in conclusion with orange. And then once you're done, you're going to have a beautifully painted paragraph. It's okay. So you should have 3 colors on your paper. 3 colors on your paper. Yes, ma'am? This is your conclusion, so I want you to highlight that for me.
Is it okay if I
It's okay. Just go ahead and fix what you've highlighted and go through and highlight the rest. Good. So like Taurus, you can see very clearly he has his topic, his evidences, and his conclusion. Okay? Same for Bradley. Good. Easton. It's fine. So go back through, and since you've got orange and then yellow and then orange, just go through with this and go over it, and it still is going to look a little different, okay? Your evidences. This is where you're going to pull out something from your evidence, and you're going to explain it a little bit further. That's all you're doing to do elaboration, is you're simply going to pull something out. Maybe you choose a word that you think, hey, they're not going to know what the definition of this word is, so I'm going to give them a definition. Or maybe, especially for this, maybe you talked about the sea flea. Well, people aren't going to know what the sea flea is, so maybe you decide to explain to them what it is. Or maybe in your evidence, you decided that you were going to talk about Jacques Cousteau filming underwater. So your next elaboration might be, how did he film underwater? You're just taking your sentence and you're going one step further. That's all you're doing. You already did elaboration? You did? Well, we're going to check and see if you did elaboration. On the second one you did? Okay. Because I'm ahead of you, I actually already wrote my paragraph. So I'm going to show you how I put my elaboration into my paragraph. I have up here 3 evidences. Evidence, evidence, evidence. What do I have starting each of my evidences? What are those called? Who could tell me? What are they called, Baylor? Linking words. What linking words did I use, Baylor?
You use
First, then, and lastly. I'm going to focus on my very, very first one. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we are going to talk about just this first one. So let's say in mine that my evidence says, first the story starts by telling us that Jacques loved the sea when he swam in it in order to get stronger. Now, I've got stronger highlighted. Why do you think that I've highlighted stronger? Why do you think I've highlighted stronger? Graydon?
it tells why.
Not telling why. Well, it does tell why, But what if you didn't know what the word stronger meant? You're reading through this and you don't know what the word stronger meant. Look what I'm going to do. I've chosen this word and I'm going to pull this word stronger from my sentence to write my elaboration. So look here. Here is my elaboration. Doctors had encouraged Cousteau to swim because he was a weak and sickly boy. So I actually took the word stronger, and if people didn't know why he needed to be stronger, I took it one step further and I gave a little bit more. How many of you ever in the car with your parents and you're like, why this? Why that? Why is this? Why is that? Or you have a younger brother or sister and they constantly are asking why. Okay? Do your parents try to explain a little bit more? Sometimes they're going to get the because I said so, or that's just how it is. Don't ever use that, okay? This is where you're going to actually pull something from the text and you are going to put it into your paragraph, because you've got to think, well, if a kid read this, are they going to say, well, why did he need to be stronger? Why did he need to go swimming every day? Why? Yeah, why? What's the reason? Kat, why did he have to go swimming every day? Yeah, the doctors wanted him to. So I took one word and I went further. Look at the next one. Read it for me. Read it for me. Who wants to read it for me? All right, Aria. Numerous. All right. So it says, then it explains how he created numerous inventions so that he could explore the sea. I'm going to pull the word invention from that sentence to write my elaboration. Tell me one of the inventions he made. Who could tell me an invention he made? Adriana. The aqualung. Tell me something else. Parker?
The TV series.
Okay, that's not really an invention. Think about an invention. Graydon? The sea fleet. Does anybody remember anything else that he invented? Think about that big old suit that he used to have to wear. He changed the what? He changed to the what? What did they call it? Somebody said it yesterday. It starts with an S. Rhymes with Ruba. Everybody? Scuba. He changed all that scuba gear so that he wasn't tethered to a boat whenever he was swimming. So what I did is I took the word invention and I simply did one sentence to explain an invention that he had created. One of the inventions that Jacques created was a what, everybody? Aqualung. An aqualung. And here is my last one. Read it for me. Read it for me. Chloe, read this for me.
Lastly, the book tells us that he wanted to share his love for the sea by writing books and filming his underwater adventures for others to read and see.
Okay, now look, I've highlighted this section of my sentence right here. Filming his underwater adventures. And from this, again, I'm going to pull filming his underwater adventures from the sentence to write my elaboration. Look here, elaboration. Who can read this for me? Randall. Shot. All right, so here I talked about filming, and then I told the name of the film that he created. All right, questions about what I'm expecting with elaboration, because you're about to try it on your own out of your paragraphs. Any questions? I'm going to borrow Tars. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to help Taurus out a little bit. look here. I want you to look at this. Look at his last evidence. I'm going to read it for you. It says, last, there are a lot of quotes in the story this should be said, by Jacques Cousteau. For his elaboration, what could he go back to the book and pull out as his next sentence? Adriana? He could pull out a quote. He could actually put his elaboration in the next sentence would just be him stating a quote from the book of Jacques Cousteau. Let me see. Who else wants me to try one for them? Jace, you said you already got elaboration.
Well, only on one of them.
All right, Easton. Let's see what you've got. And I haven't read all of these yet, so. All right, look at his. Look at his evidence. It says, second, he also made shows about the sea and even tried to make an underwater lab. What can I put in here as his elaboration? Take it a step further. Take it a step further. Parker, take it a step further. What does it say that he did? He made shows. Could I maybe explain what shows he made? Did the underwater lab work?
No.
Why? What do you realize? What do you realize, Randall?
He realized that people need light.
He knew that people needed sunlight. So he could either elaborate by telling about the shows or explaining the underwater lab failed. Why? Why, Randall? People needed what?
Sunlight.
People needed sunlight. Is this making sense? How you're taking one thing from a sentence you've already written and you're elaborating?
Yes.
Is this making sense? Okay, y'all are going to get real excited because listen to what you're about to do. You're going to do your elaborations. You're doing them from what you've already written. I'm not going to make you rewrite this paragraph. At the bottom, I want you to put 3 dots. Here, I'll actually show you with Easton's. I want you to put 3 dots for each of your elaborations that you're going to write. So let's say for this second one, Easton chose this part right here, lab underwater. Down at the bottom, on here, he's going to write a sentence about how the research lab failed. So he might put, the lab did not what? Work because people what? And Easton now has one of his elaborations. He only has to come up with 2 more. We're going to work later on inserting them, but for today, that's all I'm wanting you to do. Go in, and at the bottom, I want you to add your elaboration. If you are not done writing your paragraph, you need to finish that part first. Girls, you guys are at an advantage. You are going to write your paragraph and you're going to have your evidence and you get to add in your elaboration. So you're going to have a full cohesive paragraph. Does that make sense? Y'all with me? Okay. So, yes, any comments, questions, concerns? Flip yours to, actually go get a new sheet of paper so you're not having to flip back and forth. If you're like this and you've run out of room, a lot of times y'all have, it's hard for you to do this and flip back and forth. Raise your hand and I will give you a new sheet of paper so that you can write on it and we'll staple them together. All right? Who needs another sheet of paper? In the bathtub? Did he swim in the ocean? Did he swim in a lake? Where did he swim at?
I think in the Meridian.
The Mediterranean. Now, that's a hard word, so we can do some research-based thinking. And I want you to go back to the book in the back and look, what did they put here?
Mediterranean.
Yeah, so you could put here that, where did he swim?
In the Mediterranean.
Yeah, so write a sentence explaining that he went every day to swim in the Mediterranean.
Can we do more than 4 elaboration?
No, you can only do 3 because I want 3 done well. Let me see what you have so far. How did he invent the aqualung? Well, sweetie, we're not asking questions. You are the one that is supposed to be answering questions. So here you have on here that, I can't read upside down on the book. Okay, here you've put that the main idea you get is from looking at the book and Jacques is on the book. Tell me, expand on that. What does the picture of him on the front of the book look like? What's he wearing? Is he wearing hunting clothes? Does he look like he's about to go,
He's going to go swimming.
Yeah, so explain to me on the cover of the book, he's wearing his what?
He's wearing his diving clothes.
Okay, yeah. Put that on there. That can be your elaboration. All right, Taurus, how's it going? Oh, so you've picked out a quote? Which quote are you using? You have to open up the book and use the exact quote. So open the book and use that research-based thinking to figure out which quote do you want to include that he said. And you'd write that exact quote down as your elaboration. Does that make sense? Okay.
That's not
Not because it needed sunlight, people needed sunlight, okay? But it looks like you've got the idea. Good. Yes, Aria.
After I'm done with like my first evidence, do I write my
Elaboration. Yes. Does that make sense? So what did you, first, I realized in the first page. Oh, okay. So tell me what you're going to be your first evidence.
So it's like my evidence is gonna be that it's the second page, I think. That
That's
I
fine.
love to like tinker things and fix and make gadgets.
Yes. And what was the very first thing that he ended up, do you remember what was the first thing that he ended up tinkering with? It had something to do with a camera. Do you remember that? He made a, where's it at on page? Look. Ah! He made a what?
Amazing beauty of the sea and an airlight cover for his camera.
Airtight cover.
For his camera.
So he made it so that he could actually take it underwater. So when you're going to tell me that he tinkered with things, tell me something he tinkered with to make it better. Does that make sense? All right, Emma, how's it going? Okay. You're doing okay? All right, your handwriting looks good. Where were we today?
A three.
Okay, tell me why.
Because we didn't get into groups.
You're not getting into any groups. You were simply just listening and following along, kind of working independently. So the most we could be is a 3. Tell me a type of thinking that you did today. Tell me a type of thinking you did today. Parker.
Analytical.
Okay, what were we analyzing today?
The paragraph.
Okay, and how did we take it apart? What were we working on adding into it, Addie?
We were adding in our
Starts with an E. It's like your icing. You were taking your evidence and you were adding in your, help her out, Jace Jones. You were adding in your elaboration. So we are analyzing our paragraphs. We're learning how to break them apart and how to add in elaboration going from your evidence, okay? Tell me another type of thinking we did today. Bradley. Practical. Every day you're doing practical because what, Bradley? Reader, writer, and thinker. Everything you're doing in here, we're hoping that you can take it out to the outside world so you can be a better reader, writer, and a better thinker. Thank you, Randall. All right. Another type of thinking you did today. You did lots of this today. Adriana? Definitely. Okay. How did you do research-based?
We looked at a paragraph to do elaboration.
Yes, and you also constantly were what? You're constantly going back to the book and pulling out evidences from the book. You're pulling out all of your things from the book. Guys, you're not just pulling things from your brain. You're having to do research-based thinking, go back to the text, and pull out information. Last one. And I'm going to see if you can tell me how you did this. Last one. Easton. How? Creative is when you are visually showing me your thinking. How did you do creative thinking today? Yes, you did a painted paragraph. You colored all of your conclusion in one color. Sorry, your topic in one color. Then you did your evidences in a color. And then you did your what in a color, everybody? Conclusion. Very good. Now, because you're starting to add in elaboration, what am I about to have to pull in? A what? A fourth what? Nope, a fourth. Today we only use 3 highlighters. I'm about to have to start to add in a what? A fourth color. Problem solving strategies. All right, help me out. Aria. Yes, we did use objects. Tell me some of those objects that we used. A highlighter was the biggest one to help us to do creative thinking. Addie, give me another one.
Use logical thinking.
What does that mean?
It means we're using our brain.
Very good. Hopefully everybody's using their brain today. Baylor.
Guess and check.
What did you guys guess and check today?
We did our daily.
When you were going through and doing your daily language, you did the work yourself, and then who came around and checked it, Baylor? Me. Very good. Give me another type of problem-solving strategy that we used today. Who can help me out? Jace, what do you think?
I am going to think that we did use a visual brain
Okay, you did do a visual brain image. When did you do that visual brain image?
when we were doing the elaboration.
Okay, when you're elaborating, you're having to think and visualize what your sentence is going to look like and how you're going to answer those why questions. Is there anything else on here that we did? Anything else that we did?
Oh,
Okay, Jace.
make a list or table
Okay, when did you make a list?
when we were doing our elaboration.
Yes, you did not put your elaborations into your paragraph, so you did make a list of your elaborations. All right, let's end our day. Head down, fingers up. 1, 2, 3. 1, I did nothing today. I sat in my desk and didn't work. 2, I worked, but I know that I can do a better job. 3, I rocked it. Let me see. Hold them up. Let me see. All right. Heads down, fingers down. I would agree. You guys did a 3 today. The only thing I would say that we really need to improve on is when you have a question, friends, raise your hand. Don't blurt. When you have a question, don't follow me. Just be patient and wait at your desk. The next thing is, instead of sitting there and wasting time and waiting on me, go ahead and try to write something instead of just sitting and waiting on me to tell you what to write. Be a little bit independent and go forward on your own, and then I can come back and check it and we can correct any mistakes. Okay? Any comments, questions, concerns? All right, if you would, go ahead and quietly line up.